remember my last video where microphone. You might remember my last video where I was miserable as sin, convinced that I was being conned by people over my van and they were all time wasters and I hated the world. Well, about an hour after I made that video, maybe two, I sold the van. Yes! The van has gone. We sold it for 9,499 if you're English pounds, which is not bad. We paid 9,999 for it when we bought it, but obviously I've spent a lot recently on keeping it tip-top, roadworthy and in good condition and MOT and stuff. But you know, that's the price of owning a vehicle in the UK. So we have sold the van. I'm a happy monkey, and yeah, maybe I can be a bit more cheerful now because I don't have to deal with the public who are never very good at purchasing things. They're always tire kickers and I'll think about it kind of people. I've spent many years in sales. Believe me, I grew to hate people who cannot make decisions. When I was in life insurance, pensions and investments for a bank, we used to have a thing which we had to do, which was called back the hearse up to the door. And that was, you'd be sitting with a husband and wife talking away, all happy and friendly, and then you talk to them about life insurance and they would like confess, oh, they don't have life insurance, and they'll be sitting there with their little children by the side, and you just turn to them and say, oh my lord, that's terrible. What if you, pointing to the man, would have an accident tomorrow and get killed? Who's going to look after your family? And then you'd like, oh, I think I need to get to the bathroom. You're going to have a wee, and then you leave them. You just leave them in the room. And they would, well, obviously the wife would work her magic. You bastard! How dare you not have insurance? What about me and the poor kids? Blah, blah, blah. You know, it's always the man that's going to die, never the woman. You what is going to... Oh, you bastard! And then you come out and you're like, yeah, I think we want life insurance. Okay, good. And that was your first kind of thing. When you're doing the... this is going back many years now for me, so I'm probably going to get this wrong. But when you're doing like life insurance, investments, pensions, that sort of stuff, it's Pipsy. I think it's supposed to do pensions first, insurance second. I don't know what the second one is. P, protection, maybe. Savings and investments. I think it's something like that. It's called Pipsy, I'm sure. Anyway, or Pips. Yeah. Anyway, bottom line is this: it's bullshit. Pension is the worst thing in the world. In the modern world, because you know, just it's such a con. I mean, I don't think my pension's worth shit, frankly. I did stop it many years ago, but all I'm just saying is like the banks are just taking the investment companies are just taking so much in charge and so much unless you're like super wealthy anyway, you can pump so much money in. Really, it's just stopping you from living your life now. In the hope that when you retire, whatever age it is now, it keeps moving of course, so it could be 75 by the time you retire now. 70, I think it's moved to 70 from 65 when I was a kid. When you get to 70, the chances of you living much longer are pretty slim, so you might have saved, let's say for argument's sake, £1 million in your pension scheme over the years, and you're only allowed to like take it out and buy a, what are they called, annuity, and that annuity will pay out regular money based upon your expected life, your life expectancy. So your million might only really get you like, I don't know, 50,000 a year going back. You know, don't forget we're looking at many years in the future for some people, and it's not going to be worth a lot. I mean, that's the reality. And if you die early, they win all the way. So here's the deal: from an ex-life insurance salesperson, put your money into some kind of saving, or you know, or low risk investment like premium bonds or sort of bank or that kind of thing. You're not going to get as much. You want to put a little bit into the stock market, a little bit, all right, money that you can afford to lose, but put the rest into safe growth places. In the UK, the post office and the government do National Savings and Investments, NSAI, whatever. It's a good place to go with your money, honestly. Anyway, next thing, life insurance. Life insurance is so effing important. That truly is important. Pensions isn't. Pensions is just a good way for banks to make money. Life insurance is super important, and even more so if you can do critical illness protection on top of it. But also on that, and you know, this I think is like super important. Don't go for the ones where they say, oh yeah, well, you know, if you keep paying this for so many years, you'll get some money back. Don't go for an investment pension. It's a pension is one thing, the investment is another thing. Don't go for an investment insurance policy. If it says at the end of 20 years you'll get back money, don't do it, because all you're doing is paying extra money in to make an investment as well. Pay slightly less, but put it all into your insurance. That's where it belongs. That money is lost. Consider your insurance money lost. If you're paying more to get a return, you're paying more. They're not giving you it on top. Oh yeah, good, thanks for doing it. You're paying more for it. So don't be stupid. Just pay for what you need, which is the life insurance and critical illness insurance. Critical illness insurance, and also keep an eye on your policy. I worked for the bank, and at one stage they wrote to me and said, oh, your policy has lapsed. Now, I worked for the bank, my direct debits were set up through the bank, everything should have been tickety-boo. They, of their own accord, had cancelled my critical illness policy, and because they reckon they hadn't received any money for like 6 months or whatever, I wrote back to them and said, you are taking the piss. I have been paying this because this is my job, and I totally believe in life insurance. And luckily for me, they reinstated it, and then it was only a couple of months later that my wife ended up having to get hospital with cancer. So, you know, you've got to keep an eye on these bastards, that's for sure. Yeah, so then carrying on down, investments, savings investments, I don't know. You need to have spare money to do investments, or you need to be like a gambling type that doesn't really care if they lose the money, because investments is a risk. If we all knew that if we put our money into Apple, Microsoft, and say Tesla at the right time, we'd make money, we'd all have done it. But there's so many other companies that you think are going to be big that don't, or that they lose it overnight. There's many companies that have been like billion-dollar companies one week and pretty much bankrupt the next. It is a risk. So you need any money in investments, that kind of investments, needs to be money you can afford to lose. And I'm going to tell you now, things like penny shares is all a con. Okay, unless you're like, it's kind of a pyramid scheme, unless you're the one that's in at the beginning and then sort of tells people, oh, this is a great one to invest in, then everyone buys it, then you sell. That's the only way people make money on penny shares. So don't be involved in that shit. And the other thing is, if you can only afford like $100 into investments, don't do it. I mean, if you can afford to put £10 a week away into an investment and then just sort of buy shares over a period of time and just not have to worry about that money, that's a good way to do it. But yeah, unless you've got like insider knowledge, which is what happens, that's how you make the big money. That's why your politicians are rich, and why your company owners are rich and their families are rich, because they all insider trading, baby. Right, now I've given you a valuable lesson. I'm going to go back on with my life. It's time to get a haircut. Going back to see Namo, my Turkish barber, if they're open today. The weather is really dank at the moment. Still warm. I'm in a t-shirt, but for England, yeah, it's back to being sort of quite grey. All right, my friends, I love you all. I'll see you soon.